Hi everyone. My name is Nalin. I am an educator and educational consultant from Thailand. I have been working in constructionism path for this is the 25th year, and I spent 24 years creating a constructionist school in Thailand. And I did this presentation in 2025 talking about constructionism and powerful idea, especially how Thailand apply learning how to learn and powerful idea in our projects in the past almost 25 years. And I did some study and try to reflect on what I had learned about uh, learning how to learn and powerful ideas in Thailand. And I hope this presentation will be useful in the future. So I made this record. So this talk is about almost 50 minutes long. So it's pretty long, but it's just for my personal record and just in case that this will be useful in the future. So I would like to start it off with the topic is that constructionism, learning how to learn and powerful ideas in Thailand since 1997. Professor Simo Papert and his students and his team went to Thailand in 1997, and we collaborate. We means the MIT Media Lab by Professor Simo Papert and the team of the MIT Alumni Association and MIT Alumni Foundation called Suksa Patana Foundation got together to collaborate on an educational project to improve learning quality of Thai people since 1997. So um, I feel like, uh, constructionism regarding what we learned from the first book, Mindstorms, that Seymour always mentioned about children, computers, and powerful idea. The first two, children and computers, are very well received by the public, and it's been there. They have been incorporated in the development of the education in a very long time ago until now became like educational technology ed tech in the present time. But powerful idea is something that is not quite clear and not quite present, especially in education. It's not there just yet, and I would like to think through and reflect on the powerful ideas that had happened in Thai community, and I hope this can be useful and helpful for future development uh, in in the future. So uh, this is a little bit about myself, about my background that might support the idea why I came up with this talk. I have been a long time witness of a project in Thailand. I had two roles in the past 25 years. As the first one as the school creator and the upper role, and I was a part of the facilitator of the Runsika Light School for Innovative Learning. Since since the first year, I was the first group of teacher, the pioneer teachers since the first year. So I had been uh, helping and developing the school model, school practice, school system, and school structure since then. And we developed like grade 1 to 12 school that we can provide project-based learning. I would say nowadays, like more than 50 or 60% of the time at the school, we do a lot of constructionist project. And this is a school where all the students can do a project that they are interested in since day one that they joined the school. And the other role that I was in was I was a part of helping Suksapatana Foundation. Starting in 2007, I started to help organizing the workshops, organizing creating the network of the community of constructionist practitioners in Thailand with the support from Siksa Patana Foundation, which are those are two great leaders. They are MIT alumni, Kun Paron Isara Sena and Kun Bangkok Chao Kwan Yoon. Uh, so I was helping with two roles. The first role is to be facilitator by myself to understand constructionism in the school's context in the big city. So we created a flagship school of constructionists in Thailand. And the other role is kind of like the project coordinator. And I help supporting workshops and creating discussion among the practitioners in Thailand. So I get to know not just the school sector, I also getting to know constructionist learning in many fields, which in Thailand we apply constructionism not just in school, we apply in many industry that I will be elaborate later. And since 1997, Uh, that's the first time that constructionism has been landed in Thailand. And those are two words that struck many of us in Thailand, logo and facilitator. In the past 20, 30 years, teaching and learning is all about students sitting in that desk, and it's totally uh, like control and run everything all by teachers. But we get to learn about local experience. We get to put ourselves in the shoes of the students, how to actually learn and how did it feel to learn and to struggle in creating something and learn from the the creation process. That's how we get to know logo in the first place. And facilitator, we get to know that, oh, facilitator is different from being a teacher. We learn that instead of controlling and doing everything actively running the class, um, being a facilitator, we should learn to support and ask questions instead of giving the right answer. And the most important quotes that stick in our minds and we really feel struck by this idea is, do not steal learning opportunity from your learner. So those are the two core things that we feel like, oh, we need to learn so much more. We need to learn to step back. We need to learn to hold ourselves, not to do things for the learner, but how to just like sit on our hands and then learn to wait, learn to provide space for the learners to do things, to struggle and to have direct experience and to come up with their own learning insights. So those are the two key things that we learn from the early years of constructionist learning. And our local experiences in Thailand is very, very simple comparing to a lot of complex and highly advanced technology of learning nowadays. In the early days, it's just the logo programming. We use Micro Pros. The application on the left, you get to make the presentation. You may try to create a story. You may try to create a simulation. You may try to create anything that you are interested in and you feel that you want to express them out. And by you can do this by creating a set of code. And we learn how to code for the first time, many of us for the first time in our life. And logo is not that difficult. That's something that I really like. My background, I was a filmmaker by training. I wasn't a programmer or the scientist. I am more from the art field. But to learn logo, it's all about the English word, and it's very good that we can use the abbreviation. For example, forward, we can use FD. So it's so easy to learn how to code, and it's so easy to learn how to put all the commands together and to create something that we really want to. So, and we later on we use some robotics tools, Lego logo. We started off with that, and we use a lot of Cocoa board. That's the microcontroller. So we can express in another way in a physical world too. So we get to learn how to create something that we really care about, and then I would like to came up with some like a simple explanation of constructionism from my understanding today. It's all about like you create something and you learn about thinking, your thinking along the way. And then you learn how you think by looking at how you actually think. It's already on the screen, and we get to learn to see, oh, how messy my thinking was, and there are bugs, there are mistakes, and that's natural, that's common. And then once we get to see our own thinking, then we can try to develop or to change the way we think. So that's the very core basic of constructionist uh, learning experience. And in Thailand, as Seymour mentioned, that um, when he was being asked if constructionists will be able to fit in Thai culture, Seymour answered that Thailand needs to create our own Thai computer culture. So instead of bringing constructionism from the MIT Media Lab from the US and bring everything to Thailand. We Thai people need to learn what it is and create our own computer culture or learning cultures in Thailand. And under the Lighthouse Project that we are all together, we chose to focus in learning how to think and learning how to learn, not just programming. So we kind of like focus in that goal since the beginning. So we try to learn from the technology and try to learn better and trying to help Thai people to be a better thinker. So that's our core main goal. And in Thailand, we start big. We would like to improve the learning quality of Thai people for the whole country. So it's not just the school. We also try to apply this in the industry from for the employees from different companies. And also we would like to apply to the village, to the farmers community who are in the countryside. We would like to improve the learning capacity of Thai citizens in the big picture. So we were very ambitious about regrow our country by improve the quality of learning. So there are 6 original sites. Since the beginning, this might not be like super accurate, but these are from my memory. So 6 original sites. Majority of them are in the northern part of the country, some in Bangkok in central region, and one site in the northeastern part of Thailand, and there are 7 institutions since the beginning. Talking about technology for learning, how we did it in Thailand, probably it's different from how we do things in edtech nowadays or in other places. I really like how one of my friend, used the analogy of Doraemon cartoon. If you know, like a Japanese cartoon with the cat robot, that is kind of like he's an expert. He has the back in the front that he can pull invention, any magical tools to help all the children around him to solve any problems. So all those kids will always run to Doraemon and ask him for help. So that's the kind of like analogy of how technology can be a good friend to us, to help us to show us new perspective, to help us solving problems in a new way. So that's one take of how we can apply technology to help us improve the quality of life. But in Thailand, especially in this project that we are working with a wide range of people, it's not just in school that we can have computer and technology at any time. We do not have any problem with that investment. But since the project involved farmers, since the project involved like employees who are working in the factory, so those are the people who do not care about programming in their work. They may care, but they do not actually use them in their real life. So how can we help this learning experience being meaningful and helpful for them in their real life? So the way we try to learn from technology is more like, I will use the analogy Kung Fu Panda. So it's more like you provide opportunity for the learners to learn from the tools, and then trying to see how the tools can help us think better, can help us learn better, and trying to train our muscle, our learning habits, our new thinking patterns, train that, internalize them into our own new capacity. Just like, the panda, the Po Kung Fu Panda, he is not the warrior since the beginning. He he did has to, like practice and get to gain the muscle, to gain the experience for himself to be a better warrior, to become like a super warrior in the movie. So this is another take that we help the farmers, especially the adult learners who may not use computer in their real life, to learn how computational thinking, how constructionism can be useful in their daily life and in their context. There are some like experienced learners since the beginning, and there are hundreds and many hundreds of them, and I am lucky to get to know a lot of these wonderful learners, which are from wide varieties of background and context, and I get to learn from them how they think and how they perceive constructionist learning, and how they actually implement and internalize the constructionist in their life and also in their work environment. For example, like Sinuan, she's a teacher from Lampang. She was a teacher for 30-40 years, and she learned so much about constructionists. She learned so much how to sit back and provide space for children to participate, for children to co-construct learning experience together with her. Now she became not just a teacher, she became like a, a wise leader of the school, and also a wise leader for the community. And 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 also like Sema, he's the technician and an employee from a petrochemical company, and he told us that at the beginning he learned to be in the assembly line and press the right button. That's how he learned to work, and he did not know what actually happened behind the button that he pushed. So whenever there are problems, so he did not really quite understand what's going on. But constructionist learning helps him to understand the systems behind the buttons that he push, and that really gives him a new perspective and actually help him to be, not just a better learner, but he learned how to solve problems systematically, and he can, participate in, like growing a new innovation in his company later. And Suvichai, he's a leader of the orchid farmers community, and the orchid farmers community struggle with a lot of problems, not being able to get together. And constructionist learning also helped him to recreate the learning culture in his community. That's another interesting perspective as well. And I myself, I was a filmmaker. And my background is in media creation, and I was interested to help people to learn better. I was trying to learn how to be a facilitator by myself. And Nanoi, which I will be mention a lot about her case in this presentation. Nanoi in the top right, she was a farmer herself, and she used to have a life full of debt, very bad debt. And to have a bad debt, it's so common in a farmer's lifestyle. Her parents, her grandparents, her great grandparents, that's how they live. They grow rice, and then they will be poor, and they will have a lot of bad debt, and they will get more loans. That's the kind of like the life cycle that they feel that that's the kind of life that they deserve. And she did not believe that we can make any change about, that lifestyle. That's the life of the farmer. That's what she thought since the beginning. She has her education from only grade 4 education, and she told me that actually she got stuck in grade 3 for so many years. And then the teacher just like, just give her a pass for her to get into grade 4 to finish her very basic education back in those days. So that's how she perceived learning and how she perceived education. She has very limited literacy skills since the beginning. So I would like to talk a lot about her case because it's very kind of like very obvious, and it's so clear to us that if we change the learning context, the learning environment, and learning interaction, we can change so much, not just about her attitude about learning, that learning can be, joyful. She can enjoy learning and she can do so many more things, but it also can completely change her entire life. But to actually make that happen, you cannot just like put people in front of the computer, teach them how to code, and everything will happen. No, it's not happening that way. Since the beginning, we are so lucky that to we learn about the reflection from Professor Seymour Papert since the beginning. He and the facilitators in the early years really focus in helping learners to make connection from the coding experience, from creating something in the computer screen into your life, making connection of your experience, how you struggle with the projects in the computer, and think back to your life, your own real world context. So there are a lot of making connections in the discussion after, the coding experience. And I feel that this is one of the most like essential part of the whole learning interaction. Today I would like to focus in the learning experience, one particular learning experience. I would say that majority of the learners in the early years that we had been exposed to, and it became the fundamental of learning in us since today, and what kind of experience that we had been through. It just like came from sometimes just like one time workshop in the microwave logo workshop. It's sometimes like 4 days, 5 days, or the entire week. But how this experience, how this environment can help us getting us to learn how we learn, and getting us to learn about powerful ideas, which I will be uh, elaborate in details. The first one, personalized project. In the workshop that we get into, we allowed to create the project from our own interests. You know, so this is very helpful when you have learners coming from so different backgrounds: farmers, uh, employees from the factories, students, university students, and you also have the wide range of ages as well. Sometimes you can see young children like 10, 11 years old in the same workshop with the with the farmers who are in their 40s or 50s. So facilitator allowed us to think of our own project. And also the software itself, it's a kind of like open floor for us to create anything that that it is, that is interesting to us. So I think like I really like how Professor Mitch Resnick mentioned about low floor, high ceiling, and wide wall. That's kind of like the common core of how the projects can be appealing to wide varieties of learners. When you are dealing with diverse group of learners, these are very core things in the design. It really helps increase the motivation for the learner to create, because I really care about that project. I really want to see it happen in front of me. So, and it it makes kind of like the distance between our idea to the reality. Our idea and reality, the distance is getting shorter and getting closer over time. When we can apply whatever idea came into my mind, and I can try and see things happen in front of me, the more that I had that experience, the more I gain more confidence that any ideas is possible. So that's really uh, nurture the new attitude about ideas, and then you get it to taste, and it can be possible in the reality. It really nurture the confidence to create something from your ideas. The second one is procedural thinking. This is a very popular area. I would say it's not easy to write code. The procedure is on the right hand side. This is where we call the procedure. To create something, you need to write your commands here, and your commands you'll be putting in different sections. You have to kind of like write what you need, what you really needed to happen on the screen, and you break it down into small steps, and you write it down here. And once you press kind of like run, you can see how things happen in the presentation on the left. And of course there are some bugs, there are some mistakes. You will get to fix them on in the procedure here, and then you run again to make your presentation, your story run smoothly. So that's the process, how we use the procedure page here. But this is the area that a lot of people reflected about, that it really helped them learn how to plan. it's not easy to teach people how to plan. You can tell people 1, 2, 3 how to plan, and but actually what actually help people plan is to get them to do it. And this is a very simple way, is to get them to make plan, and they struggle with their own plan and learn how to create a better plan for themselves. That's what's really happening in the process. It's not like you telling them, but you giving the space for them to practice and learn and get the insights from their own experience. And people learn that, oh, how messy my plan was. And people learn that, uh, what we are thinking might not necessarily be always be correct, because we found so many mistakes in the command, which came from what's inside our brain, and we learn to not over trust, do not learn to not be too overconfident about what you are thinking, trying to we learn to step back, to look for the mistakes and look for the possible bugs in our own thinking process. And that's um, very important phenomena, because sometimes we did not realize that we believe in our assumption too fast and too much, until we cannot understand different perspective, and we did not realize our own mistakes. And there are so many times when people reflected in the circle, or even giving me a call to share that, oh, sometimes the person just forget to, just that the typo, just one letter that is wrong in the whole process. And she thought that my plan was perfect, so it must be something wrong with the computer. She was really confident about that. It must be something wrong with the computer or with the program itself, but my plan was perfect. That's where she was. And then when she realized that, oh, I forgot to type just one letter, she actually forgot. And then it brought her to a new perspective all of a sudden, that she cannot trust herself that much. And then she learned to step back, and she started to feel bad about what she had done earlier, that she might have done some mistakes unknowingly, and blame on something else, blame on her team, blame on the systems, which actually it could have been her own mistakes, her own bug. And that's a huge lesson learned for a person to shift the perspective of, became someone who are not reacting to the problems and point it out to others, became someone who can step back and actually to look through things in a more objective way. So to me, it's a small thing, but it's so a big shift in your perception, and also a big shift in how you respond and react to the world. So procedural thinking, this procedure really help us to be another version of thinker by ourselves. And instantaneous feedback, that's another big piece of like a growing the new learning habits in us. We always get to try our ideas, writing the commands, and then test it out. And then when it doesn't work, the program will show instantaneously, just in time for you to tell you, I don't know how to. So the instantaneous feedback really help us to learn quickly. And then there are also like resources on the right that related to the problem that can be a possible solutions, a possible topics that we can learn to improve the the program ourselves. So it's both like giving feedback instantaneously, and then also provide resources for us to learn how to improve. It's like a very fast and quick feedback, and helping us to learn to improve very in a very quick, like quick time. So that's important because once sometimes when you have mistakes in your plan or in your project and you did not get feedback, you may misunderstood so many things. You may think that it's already good, or some for some people they did not understand why uh, things doesn't go in the way that they want. They may started to blame themselves, that oh, I might not be good enough. I might not be smart enough. I may not be a good manager. There are times when we judge ourselves like that, which can be a big barrier for learning in the future. So instantaneous feedback in this uh, local experience really help us to learn how to handle feedback in a constructive way. And also the feedback here is quite friendly, kind of like neutrally friendly and helpful to us. And then so we can learn from the fast and direct feedback, and then learn to improve ourselves very quickly. So we get to learn how to fail in a safe environment. If fail but not done, we can always learn to make it better. And we learn to be brave, to look at the bug ourselves. And it is possible for learner to debug by ourselves. I feel proud when I can solve the bugs by myself. Like on the first day of the workshop, majority of the learner will always like raise their hands whenever they encounter mistakes, they encounter problem. That's the first reaction that we are also familiar with. We always raise our hands to get help from experts. So on the first day, facilitator will walk around the room a lot and they are very tired because the learning has just get started. But over time, on the second day, third day, learners started to learn how to be calm whenever they struggle with problems. They learn to define the bugs. And they learn to once they can define their own bugs, they can fix the bugs. Like at least 50% of the bugs is kind of like doable by themselves, and they feel better about themselves. So that really decreased the amount of time when the learners try to raise their hands and always request for help from others. So we get to learn more strategy how to solve problems. It's not just, you know, have problem, raise your hands, and then get help from experts. That's the only one strategy. But we can also try to do things by ourselves when we calm down, and we can go through the box, and we sometimes it's just like a small box that we can fix by ourselves. And third, we learn to ask for, our own peers who sit next to us or who are in the rooms and who they had that experience before. So there are many more options for us to solve problems, and that's really an education for us, how we deal with problems in reality, in your life or in your work. You not always get help from experts right away, but there are more options for you to try on. And then once you had that experience for a week, you your mind had been trained, to face a lot of bugs, to face a lot of problems, and you get help from different group of people, and you get to reflect about what you learn and how can you improve it to be better next time. You get people to connect with and supporting each other in the projects. You are growing the new learning environment, growing the new learning experience in that uh, workshop, in that week. And that's really enough for you to see, what's a new possibility that you can try when you get back to your classroom or when you get back to your work context. And this is also what's happening in class. Like, um, when you have more experience over time, your project will get more complex according to your confidence. Like, in the beginning, you may start a very small, simple project because you don't know a lot of commands. You still have limited experience. But once you finish like the first small project, you have better and more confidence and better knowledge about commands and how to solve problems. You tend to be brave to create a more complex project over time, and that's what's happening in the classroom. And that's what Seymour said to us, that local is the experience that allow you to see how you do and learn things. And micro pros in the experience that I share with you really help us uh, see our own working process, our own learning process, and how we think and how we solve problems. And that's when we kind of like really get back to our own mind and fix our own CPU. Nobody can really fix your brain. Nobody really can change you, but it's the decision from inside that, oh, now I have a better idea. Now I have a better alternatives, and I can change the way I react, and I can and improve the way I respond to things in the next stage. And that creates a confidence, and that confidence is very important for you to actually feel confident to tackle something in your life and in your work context. So at the end of the workshop, usually people always feel ambitious that, oh, now I have better strategy. I may want to do this and that project. So to me, that's a powerful idea that people, finish out the workshop with the feeling of, the powerful learning in them. And they feel so powerful, to do something that they are interested in their real life. And these are, like the quotes from what I heard in the class, what had happened, that there are some meta awareness that the learner learns to be aware of their own thinking, the way they respond to things in the world. For example, they said, I always blame on others on my own mistakes that I did not realize. That's the common quotes from a lot of learners. And they learn to plan and reason systematically according to the procedure process that we have to work through. That I saw my messy plan. I learned so much about planning and agency and self-compassion. They learn to create, nurture their own confidence. I thought it was impossible to do this project, but it is possible. All I need is to plan and do things step by step. We get to learn that the big projects, you can break it down into smaller pieces, and then you can put the small pieces together to complete the whole projects. We learn the strategy, how to deal with the ambitious plan, and collaboration and sharing. Sometimes you get like to see like learners who keen to work alone, and he or she learned that working by yourself can hit the limitation. Sometimes the project is complex for one person to think, then he or she learn to connect with other people, learn from somebody else experiences, and she can learn how that's how we can, like uh, work on a more complex project in the long term. Those are the common reflection on the local experience. One of the common reflection that we had in the workshop is about facilitator. It's not just the process that we had been through. It's not just the wonderful design of the software itself. It's also the role of the facilitator, that they are not the teacher. How are they? We have trust and caring relationship with the teacher. That's really helpful because we have to be comfortable to tell them about our mistakes. And so the facilitator maintain and nurture the relationship with the students. That's a very core essential thing in the classroom. Facilitator, be there, support, and accessible. As facilitator, we learn to provide space if it's too close or if it's too far. Sometimes some learner, they need space to just do things by themselves, and they will call on us when we actually need help. They do not feel comfortable having us too close all the time, but some learners feel vulnerable when we are too far. They need us sometimes just to be there for them to feel safe, and sometimes they need to feel trust because they do not trust in themselves enough, and they just rely on the trust that we have for them to continue. And the facilitator provides space for reflection and sharing ideas. We ask questions for them to think for themselves, to come up with options, and sometimes share ideas. It's not telling them what to do, but just share ideas, and it's the learner's decision to make in what strategy he or she would like to continue in her journey. And the last one, as a facilitator, we need to practice and walk the talk by ourselves. You cannot be project facilitator without creating a project yourself. You will not understand the experience of how it feels to develop a project, how it feels to feel vulnerable, how it feels when you got stuck. So those experiences are very, very crucial for you to have the common understanding, common feeling with the learners, and it really helps you to understand the learners better. And from that point, you can help and collaborate with the learners in a better way, because learners know when you do not have that experience yourself and you try to provide response, and they may feel irrelevant. They may feel that your suggestion is irrelevant to their project, so they may lose trust when you do not have that experience yourself. So it's important for facilitators to maintain and to keep practicing, sharpening our own learning skills all the time. So that's how people feel that their local experience can unlock their capacity to learn and also unleash the powerful ideas. They feel unlocked that now they got a new strategy to work and to handle problems better, and that unleash so many potential ideas that they can develop in the future. These are some ideas from the learners when they go back to schools. There are some like marketing schemes that they pursue. Some develop the internal process, internal structure in their own organization to improve the efficiency in their own work. Some projects that helps improve the living quality in their own village. For example, they would like to share like the monkey cheek and water trail projects in Nanoi's village. That is the irrigation in highly drought area, and that idea of the water trail is since the village is so lack of water, and they do not have enough water to consume for the whole year. So it's her idea to collect all the rain in the rainy season, collect all the rain in a reservoir. And that's very complex task because she and the whole village has to collaborate to create a terrain, new terrain, to create a path for the water to flow in the same direction, and to all the water flow in the same direction to and meet, and collect in the reservoir. She think that she doesn't want to lose any drop of water. She would like to collect all of them, and she can make it. She can make it in 6 or 7 years with the collaboration, with the support from uh, organization outside. And it's not just like 1 week project, it's a long-term project, but it's really came from her idea, and that's important. And she became an expert in irrigation in the highly drought area, and that project received an award from the National Innovation Award in agricultural. So there are so many projects came from this 20-30 years project. There is a flagship school of constructionism in Bangkok, and this is kind of like the showcase of any constructionist thing that you need. If you need ideas and inspiration, you can always go there to learn and get inspired and get ideas back to your site. There are some schools in the countryside that they learn to connect the community learning, to connect the community business, to connect to the community task. For example, this village is in the northern part of Thailand. They connect the school's curriculum with the fire protection projects in the community. So the kids grow up to learn about uh, forest fire in their area, and they learn about how they can be a part of fire protection in their area. They learn about rice field because they are in the rice farm community. They learn about the assets in their own community, and learn how to you learn about who you are, where you live, what's your uh, assets, and also learn to innovate, how to create something new from what you already have in your local area. For example, they learn to create the rice cracker from the rice in their village, and the rice cracker became like the product that they can sell in the village, and also sell outside as the product in the market. For industry that learn, they started to develop a program where the employees can learn how to learn together, how to solve problems together, and how to collaborate with the plan. They learn to be a part of the solution, not just the passive employee to follow the instruction, but they learn to voice the problems. They learn to be a part of thinking of the solution from their perspective and their experience, and that's improved the efficiency and the quality of the products and service in a big picture. And for the village, as I mentioned about the monkey cheek and water trail, there are many of those projects that tackle the poverty's problem, tackle the forest burning, the drought, and the droughts. There are hundreds of projects among many villages in this community. So these are the projects that really connect to their own real life, and they can be active contributor to the solution by themselves. This is Nanoi started off with learning projects, doing projects, and she opened a space in her house to become like a computer club for her the children in the village. They can go to her house to learn how to use computer. She's the facilitator, helping children in her village to learn, and now she has her uh, daughter who became a facilitator to help the villagers to learn how to use computer in their life. And they involve the villagers to participate in creating projects together, and they became an expert how to solve the very difficult problems in the countryside of Thailand. And that's Ban Lim Thong village. So this is how local unlock the learning capacity and unleash the powerful ideas. But of course, that this cannot happen after the workshop without continuous support. We need to provide a continuous generative space to nurture all these ideas and creative energy. We need facilitators who understand the process and can be a constructive facilitator to help them growing the projects on their own. We need a space and time for reflection to maintain the learning cultures. Learning is hard, and to tackle problems is very difficult. It's real. So reflection really helps to give us space to handle with our own emotions and trying to come up with ideas how to continue in a constructive manner. And we also need resources and community to grow together. So over 20 years, there are some networks growing from 7 institutions in the beginning. Now we have a lot more, and there are a much bigger scale of institution that they are interested to develop their learning community. While constructionism in Thailand were, being some people doubt about how it can scale in a big picture, but with the success stories of those projects, it's already spread it out without us knowing, what's the model to help us scale in a more like a systematic way, because it's, the story go fast, and then people, it creates the demand for people to try. It creates the demand for the community to follow, and we ourselves trying to learn how to be a better support, how to spread constructionist experience in a more systematic way. So we get together and came up with the ideas of like the core model of the Thai constructionist learning. And I think this is a Thai computer culture, as Seymour mentioned earlier, that the first to think, make is basically the constructionist part. You came up with meaningful projects, how you allow the learners to create the projects from their own interest. And then make is to create a space for learners to be able to make, and always open space for mistakes, and for the learners to learn to debug, to learn from the mistakes that they encounter. And then we add the reflection. That reflection is an essential part of the process, that we learn that we need to rest, and then how we review the experience and how we revise the experience to for us to have a better strategy to navigate the learning in the next step, and to connect. This is something we learn from our experience, that without this piece, many institutions stop the project. Why? Because we learned that without you help people connect together with respective and caring manners, people started to be too competitive. And when it's too competitive, the learning environment became not so friendly, and it can be very, very destructive environment. That's how, and we learned that the institutions who still can continue until nowadays, they work in the, you know, continuing the caring and respective community in this learning process. So think, make, reflect, and connect. I would like to finish the last slide with this one too. I think it's a very good uh, example of the powerful idea. And this is what Nanoi always share with us. When we have reflection, we came to talk about our experience and what we learned from them. And Nanoi share with us her reflection that this knowledge is like a golden fishing rod. And she she came up with that ideas, and she said that it provides abundance of knowledge. It's not just you providing her fish and she can just eat and finish the fish that we provide to her, but it's the fishing rod that she can fish, for herself and for a very long term, that she can grow and learn so many things. And she said it changed her whole life, and she would like to dedicate her life from now on to share this experience with others. That's something very interesting, that with this experience, the person feel happy about the change in their life, and they would like to share it out to others. And I feel like if the education nowadays can create the learners, to when they graduate, they feel so grateful about their learning experience. They feel so happy about their learning experience, and they are willing to share. They are willing to share and tell stories to others to inspire others. I feel like the country, and any country, would be a much better place to live in. And I would like to end with a Nanoi's photo of her honorary degree in agriculture in 2011. That's one case study that I told you briefly, how she struggled and how she grew over time. And there are many, many cases of the learners in Thailand, in Thailand's project, which we can learn so much from. And I feel like it's so little to deal with technology. Sometimes it's just like one time that the person had got the inspiration and powerful idea from. And then for the rest of the story is the work of the facilitator and the learner themselves, that they learn to grow their agency. They learn to grow the belief in themselves, that they can be active contributor to their own life. And one day they became an active contributor to a society. And I would like to end with this lovely story. Thank you. So that's the talk that I shared to a class of the students at Harvard Graduate School in 2025. I personally really care about powerful idea and learning how to learn. And I feel I'm still waiting for any technology design or AI in the future to that actually can help learners to improve learning how we learn, not just doing things for us. And I really am so looking forward to any AI or any tools that can help us realize who we are and create the powerful ideas and also powerful learning that we feel powerful in our own capacity in the way that I had just told the story in the past. There is no such thing yet, or from my experience and my knowledge, but I am so looking forward to that innovation that will be centered in a human, that will be centered in the caring heart and the learning experience of the human to help them grow to be a better learner. So thank you very much. And this talk is very long, and I just wish to keep it for my own record. And I hope it will be useful for anyone. And I will try to keep track and develop another talk and share with you guys later. And for today, bye bye. Thank you.